I am the writing on the wall, the whisper in the classroom.
Real bees, real blood, real psychological breakdowns. The 90s horror movies you forgot pushed actors to the breaking point. Literally. One got covered in 2,000 live insects for $23,000 in pain money. Another filmed with a secret degenerative disease while performing death-defying stunts. And one actor's genuine mental collapse became cinema's most authentic horror performance. Here are the 10 forgotten horror movies of the 90s. Number 10. Dead Alive, 1992. Peter Jackson's zombie splatterfest used exactly 300 liters of fake blood for the infamous lawnmower scene. That's 79 gallons of corn syrup and red dye coating everything in sight. The massive blood usage created serious practical problems on set. The sheer volume of fake gore clogged drainage systems and required constant cleanup between takes. Jackson spent months perfecting the blood mixture recipe to get the right consistency and color for maximum impact. This wasn't just excess for excess's sake. Jackson knew he was creating something that would push the boundaries of what audiences could handle. The blood was mixed with chunky substances to simulate body parts, making every spray and splatter look disturbingly realistic. Number 9. Candyman, 1992. Tony Todd's commitment to authenticity went beyond acting into genuine physical endurance. For the bee scenes, Todd was covered with over 200,000 live honeybees while filming. He negotiated $1,000 for every bee sting he received during production. In total, Todd was stung 23 times during filmmaking, earning him an additional $23,000 for his pain. The production used freshly hatched, less aggressive bees and protected Todd's throat with a dental dam during the famous mouth scene. It took over 30 minutes to safely remove all the bees from Todd's body after each take. The bees had their own trailer on set, and expert beekeeper Norman Gary used synthesized queen bee pheromones to keep them calm. Despite their precautions, Todd's willingness to endure real stings created some of horror's most authentic and terrifying imagery. Smash that like button and tell me, was it the $23,000 bee torture or Jackson's blood disaster that shocked you most? We read every comment, and trust me, what's coming next makes these stories look tame. Number 8. Event Horizon, 1997. Paul W.S. Anderson's original cut ran 130 minutes, 34 minutes longer than the theatrical release. The deleted footage contained scenes so graphically violent that test audiences walked out in disgust and the studio demanded massive cuts. The excised footage was stored in a Transylvanian salt mine for preservation. While salt mines are typically chosen for film storage due to their stable, arid conditions, when Anderson later tried to recover the scenes for a director's cut, the footage had deteriorated beyond repair. According to Anderson, the lost scenes included extended torture sequences that made the theatrical version look tame by comparison. The deleted material showed the original crew's final moments in hell with imagery Anderson described as the most horrific event put to film. Those 30 minutes of footage are now lost forever. Number 7. Army of Darkness, 1992. Bruce Campbell's dedication to physical comedy came with real consequences. During a stunt scene where Campbell flipped an actor downstairs, his chin caught on a piece of chest armor, splitting it open and requiring emergency room treatment. Campbell went straight to the hospital still wearing his full makeup, complete with fake cuts and wounds covering his face. When the doctors examined him, he couldn't identify which injury was real among the artificial trauma. The confused medical staff had to carefully examine each wound to find the actual cut. Campbell returned to set immediately after getting stitched up, reasoning that one more cut among his character's many injuries wouldn't affect continuity. His real blood from the accident can be seen in some of the final scenes, adding unintended authenticity to his battered appearance. Hit subscribe and ring that bell. I'm exposing Hollywood's most guarded secrets weekly, and missing one episode means missing stories this insane. Next week, I'm revealing which A-list actor nearly died during a safe stunt, and how the studio silenced the paramedics. Number 6. Jacob's Ladder, 1990. Adrian Lyne achieved every disturbing visual effect in camera without any post-production work. The film's signature shaky head demons were created by filming actors moving their heads rapidly at just 4 frames per second, then playing the footage back at normal 24 frames per second. This low frame rate technique created the unnatural, fast, blurred movements that made the creatures appear otherworldly. Vietnam veteran Captain Dale Dye provided military training for the cast, and the war scenes were filmed in Puerto Rico using actual UH-1 helicopters from the Puerto Rico National Guard. Test screenings revealed the original cut was too intense for audiences, so Lyne removed approximately 20 minutes of disturbing material from the final third of the film. The deleted scenes contained even more graphic imagery that pushed the psychological horror to unbearable levels. Number 5. Nightbreed, 1990. Clive Barker's ambitious monster epic faced studio interference that completely undermined his vision. A Morgan Creek executive reportedly told Barker, "You know, Clive, if you're not careful, some people are going to like the monsters." Barker later said this comment perfectly illustrated how even the company I was making the film for couldn't comprehend what I was trying to achieve. The studio demanded extensive reshoots to turn Barker's sympathetic monster story into a conventional slasher film. They forced him to add more kill scenes with David Cronenberg's Dr. Decker character to make him a more central villain, completely missing that Barker wanted audiences to sympathize with creatures, not fear them. Barker was contractually obligated to deliver an R-rated film and couldn't make it as gory as his previous success, Hellraiser. The theatrical version was so heavily edited from his original vision that decades later, fans launched Occupy Midian campaigns to restore his director's cut. The original version wasn't released until 2014, over 20 years after the film's initial failure. Number 4. Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight, 1995. This horror comedy spin-off from HBO's Tales from the Crypt series originally had no connection to the Crypt Keeper at all. The script had been circulating Hollywood for years as a standalone demon movie before Universal Pictures decided to tie it to the popular TV franchise. Budget constraints forced the creators to write two completely different versions of the script. The demon version we know was the expensive option, but they also prepared a cheaper alternative where Billy Zane's collector was a Bible salesman leading a team of door-to-door salesmen in black suits and sunglasses, who were secretly demons. The film was deliberately released on Friday, January 13, 1995, because Universal wanted to tie Tales from the Crypt movies to the traditional horror weekends like Friday the 13th and Halloween. Voice actor John Kassir had to swallow lemon juice and honey between takes to soothe his throat after delivering the Crypt Keeper's trademark raspy dialogue. Number 3. New Nightmare, 1994. Wes Craven's meta-horror masterpiece was filmed during the 1994 Northridge earthquake in Los Angeles. Although earthquake scenes were already written into the script, the production team incorporated real footage of structural damage from the actual disaster into the film. Craven wanted to ask Johnny Depp, who had debuted in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, to appear as himself in the film. However, Craven was too shy to make the request. Years later, when they encountered each other, Depp told Craven he would have been happy to participate if asked. The film featured various real people from the horror industry playing themselves, creating an unprecedented blend of reality and fiction. This meta approach predated similar techniques that would later become common in horror films, making New Nightmare ahead of its time. Number 2. In the Mouth of Madness, 1994. Sam Neill's method acting approach nearly destroyed his mental health during production. To prepare for his role as a man losing his grip on reality, Neill spent weeks reading nothing but H.P. Lovecraft stories while sleeping only 3 hours per night to simulate his character's insomnia. Neill began experiencing genuine paranoid episodes, becoming convinced that production assistants were following him home. He spent $3,000 hiring a private investigator to check if he was actually being stalked, only to discover his paranoia was completely imaginary. The famous mental breakdown scene where Neill's character screams about reality versus fiction wasn't acting. It was Neill having a real panic attack after staying awake for 72 hours straight. Director John Carpenter kept the cameras rolling as Neill genuinely lost his grip on reality, creating one of horror's most authentic psychological collapse scenes. Number 1. The Frighteners, 1996. Michael J. Fox's final starring role before focusing on his Parkinson's diagnosis featured him performing dangerous stunts while secretly battling early symptoms of the disease. Fox hid his condition from the cast and crew throughout production, making his physical performance even more remarkable. The scene where Fox gets thrown around by invisible ghosts required him to be yanked by cables attached to a harness. His Parkinson's tremors made it impossible to land safely, resulting in multiple injuries. Fox told the crew he was simply having an off day after each accident. Peter Jackson later revealed that Fox's tremors actually enhanced his possessed character's movements in ways that no special effects could replicate. What audiences thought was masterful physical acting was Fox courageously working through a degenerative disease while creating some of horror's most convincing supernatural possession scenes. Drop a comment and tell me which fact shocked you the most. Was it Tony Todd's bee dedication, Michael J. Fox's hidden struggle, or Sam Neill's genuine paranoia? If you want more behind-the-scenes movie secrets that'll change how you watch classics forever, hit that subscribe button. These stories prove that sometimes the most incredible movie magic happens when everything goes wrong.